By the end of this video, you're going to have a step-by-step guide to request a credit increase from Capital One without a hard credit check. Whether you want more credit for free travel, cash back, or just to simply lower your credit utilization, aka what you're spending versus Capital One is offering you, then this is probably the smartest thing you can do. In fact, this is the same strategy that took me from a $3,000 to a $40,000 credit limit in just a few months. And if it's your first time here, smash that subscribe button if you want to make more, save more, and raise your credit. Real quick, I did want to point out why requesting a credit increase is often better than just applying for a new card. So applying for a new card hurts what's called your average age of accounts and can lower your credit score. In the same way, Capital One limits us to 5 accounts with Capital One, so another reason why applying for a new card may not be your best option. But at the end of the day, Capital One is well known for starting us off with a small credit limit. In fact, my own credit limit was stuck at $3,000 until I got it raised to $40,000 with the strategy I'm going to share with you in just a minute. And that's not to brag, I'm just letting you know what's possible. In fact, this guy right here got a $58,000 credit limit, so I hope that you get one as well. And you're probably thinking, well, Nick, why does Capital One start everyone with such a small credit limit? Capital One is known for serving subprime borrowers, which means that people with lower credit scores, and then on the flip side, they charge higher interest to mitigate their risk. But not to worry, because Capital One is one of the best subprime borrowers to have on your credit report. Based on my past experience, they're the best credit card for a pathway to, let's say, an Apple, Chase, or even American Express card in the future. One last point, and then we'll go into the credit increase, but Capital One is also expanding into the luxury travel market with their new Venture X credit card, which brings us to step number 1 of requesting your credit increase, which is properly setting up your Capital One account. This can be done on a phone, computer, or a tablet, but I'm going to demonstrate on my laptop to make it easy for you. And friendly reminder, I'm also going to share with you those 2 important ratios, so make sure you stick around for that. So first thing you want to do is log into your Capital One account. Navigate over to this Need Help option. Should open up a window like this, which brings up an important point. Do not click around too much. We're going to update a few things and then come back to this when we actually request the increase in just a minute. Type in that you're looking to update your income and your employment. This box should appear, which brings up 2 important points. When you're updating your income, Capital One is awesome to the fact that they allow you to use your alimony, child support, separate maintenance income, and other income that's available to you if you need it in the future to be considered for the credit increase. You could put that up there. Your employer, everything else would be normal. But for my self-employed people, it's a little bit different. For self-employed, I would recommend putting the name of your company to add a little bit of continuity, which you're allowed to do because it'll come in handy on the next few steps. For example, if I own a company called John's Power Washing, I want to put that down as my occupation. So basically, you would switch it back to employed and then put John's Power Washing here instead of actually using the self-employed option. But we can't stop there because the next part is crucial to getting the credit increase and making sure you're avoiding the hard inquiry. Navigate back to the chat feature and type in credit increase. I almost forgot something. If your address and your name is incorrect in this portal, you have to go to the update personal info section, and you want to make sure that's totally up to date, and then come back to this screen here. Now you should see this box where you could enter in your income, employment, and then there's 2 ratios down here that we have to go over, but first fill this out just like we did in the last step. Important to mention, it should follow the exact to what you put on the last step, so it matches it up to Capital One system and everything makes sense, which is why we did that beforehand. Now, when they ask for your rent and mortgage, which is the most important part, you need to do this right. Rent and mortgage should be 30% or less than your monthly take-home income. You should never be lying, but use this as a guide. So if you make $100,000, that's technically $8,333 $3 per month. Rent and mortgage should be 30% or less, so that's $2,500 or less. In the same way, credit card spend should be 10% or less of your monthly take-home income. So on $100,000, that's about $833 per month. For the max desired increase, I've put double my credit limit, and that worked for me, so I can only speak on behalf of my past experience. In the same way, for this question, I recommend to keep it pretty general, so I would put something like, my credit limit doesn't meet my long-term spending needs. Many people think, which is a common mistake, putting all zeros for all of this makes the most sense, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Capital One makes money from charging us fees on transactions. Surprise, surprise. So after all that's updated, you could go ahead and send in the increase, which will be no hard inquiry. So I hope that you got one. Let me know below if this video was helpful, and consider checking out this video right here. YouTube thinks is best for you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.